Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're here this morning. Hope everybody had a good days off and everybody getting back in the groove. Appreciate some of the videos that Jeff was able to get in for us while we were sort of out of pocket. But we've had a great time. I'll share it with you later. But let's take care of our weather. Brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning. Drew Pollard and the hard-working crew up there in Southport. All the surrounding counties he can take care of. High today is going to be 84, low 69. A little bit of coolness. When I say low 69 on the coast, that's the first time we've been talking about in the 60s this year since winter. So that's good news. Water temperature now is up there at 86.4. So it's got up there. Our river reading brought to us by Mountain Dew. On the outdoors with Mountain Dew. We're looking at the Apalachicola Bluntstown. It's at a 6.6, and but you know we got it. I'm looking at it here. We got it dropping, and it's going to be, as you know, with all this rain getting through yesterday and day before, it's going to be rising. But right now 6.6, and it was sort of good the last day or two. Before the rain. Choctawhatchee Caryville 7.6, and again it's going to be getting up there too, but it's going to be high for the weekend, I'm afraid, again. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn, Greg Brudnicki, the Kent family, and all those folks up there doing good things. We're looking at today is the 9th of September. There's not much of a tide today. Not much going on. Not much going on tomorrow, but now Saturday's tide for the weekend. You got a low tide right there in the middle of the day. So it's dropping to the middle of the day, and then it's going to start going up in the afternoon. So your choice. You can, if you like a falling tide, in certain areas that falling tide is very important. We've talked about it before. You can do that Saturday morning, or if you got an incoming tide, Saturday afternoon, or you can stay out there all day if you want to, but it's going to be some good movement on Saturday. All right, water temperature, like I said, is 86.4. And that is a key factor right now to stay that high as we get into September. That's very important. Wind direction today will be west-northwest at about 5 to 10. Pretty normal day if we get rid of all this rain. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. This is the latest fad. I know y'all saw everybody getting milk crates. I couldn't figure out when I saw it on social media, everybody's getting milk crates to do things with. And what's going on with milk crates? And then so you started seeing different things. They even made the news where you had to run up, had to build the milk crates, had to run up them, and people falling off and getting hurt really bad. But then here somebody came up with a good idea of what to do with these milk crates. Something good, wholesome, and a good activity. I would not recommend this. They're not very sturdy, but I do recommend getting some heights on fishing, especially on a calm day like that. And I want to tell you, one of my early years of pompano fishing, I ran across one or two guys who were older than me, but they were really, that's all they did, focused on pompano fishing. They were some of the early pioneers of surf fishing with pompano, and one of them had an aluminum ladder that he would actually, on calm days like that, he would actually take that aluminum ladder, about 20 or 30 feet out there before it started dropping off deep, and he would climb up, and he had, he was all wrapped up. Even in the early days, he was wrapped up, but I never will forget him. But he was looking for those pompano, those flashes, because he got some heights. And there's a lot to be said for that, and most surf fishermen don't do it now because they don't have a way to get the heights, but I've got something I want to show you. Now, the next segment of pictures I want to show you is Tess Randall Jolly, our Oprah friend up there in North Alabama. She, I'll show you her photographs a lot. She does so many great photographs. And what I wanted to show you, I'm going to read it to you. She's just there every day in the woods. They have a big farm up there, and she showed a picture of a fawn, a yearling. I posted last weekend, and it was just getting away from a mother, and and sort of hung around the yard. Then the rains from Hurricane Ida drenched it this week. And Tuesday she was tucked under a cedar tree, sheltering branches, napping, and grooming herself from a drowned rat soaking wet back to a sleek and sweet face. So what Tess did was just did Okay, so here's the fawn. Okay, this is during all the rains from Hurricane Ida last week, and we always wonder what animals and all do. Well, they get soaked, and you can see, and Tess was able to just document 3 or 4 days of the fawn doing this, and just soak, licking herself, trying to get dry, and then look here, the rain's in, and she's dry, and she's all happy now. But what a great set of, you talk about wildlife photography, I'm always showing her pictures and all, what a great set of pictures. So good job, Tess. Okay, you have to sort of think about this in a second. And this is beagles, okay? You look at it a second and think about it. Okay, beagles. All right, you got that, Jeff? All right, Danny Rathfield sent this. This is the Highland View Bridge, okay? And the cars are the Highland View boat ramp. Never have I ever seen that many vehicles down there. Obviously, it's scallop season. Danny Rathfield had never seen, and he's been there his whole life, has never seen that many. They're in line to launch last Saturday of Labor Day to launch at the Highland View boat ramp. It's free launch there. So you can see, I don't know what they did about the parking. I don't know where they all park, but that was incredible. Thank you, Danny Rathfield. Okay, this is our scalloping trip. I'm going to talk a lot about it later. Gail's taking a picture, but she was in it too, and we had a grand time, all kind of fun things. I'm going to show you some pictures of it later and talk about that crew we were with. Good folks there. Jason Shingler, he took a couple out. They were on a honeymoon from Illinois. I thought that was so cool, and this was a couple of days ago before the rain, Labor Day weekend really. And the mahi-bite has been really, good. Here it is again. They were catching several fish out there. What a great way to come down and go fishing. Now, I want to tell you this story. Let me set it up. Grant Conyers, you know Grant Conyers, a lot of y'all do. He's a Liberty County, he's supervisor of elections down in Liberty County. I knew him when he was a little boy. His dad had that dadgum pole. We did the shows on a dadgum pole. And Grant and his brother Reggie did Conyers floor covering, and they still do wooden floors. They do gymnasiums throughout the southeast. They're so good at it. But Grant now is supervisor of election. But they love, both of those boys love the outdoors. They were brought up in the outdoors. So Grant on Labor Day, and this has happened to every one of us outdoorsmen at some time or another. So, you know, he's going to take the family out. It's been real busy lately. So here, he had a number one, the boat wasn't cranked. Okay, number two, Caleb goes to the emergency room with a hook. And number three, a blowout between Weewalt and Bluntstown. Check this out. Is this okay? So he gets out there, gets towed in, and y'all know how frustrating that is. We've been there and done that. And then Caleb, his son Caleb, I think he's about 14 now. That's happened to, if you've been on a boat long, it's going to happen to you. So he had to go to the emergency room, and then he had a blowout. I mean, that is a true blowout. So I get tickled talking about all the outdoor experiences that we all sympathize with them because we've been there and done that. And maybe not all three at one time, but Grant Conyers, we've been there, buddy, so I know a lot of y'all will appreciate that. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. The first thing, let's add a name. Someone bought some stuff from the shop. Ben Finley, we got you right here, buddy. Okay, now let's. I've got a lot more pictures. I won't get through all of them. I'll sort of spread and show some more tomorrow, maybe later on this week, maybe tomorrow. I do want to show you again. This is we had it when we cleaned our scallops and all. This is a feast. These four couples here, and we're going to talk about it more. But again, we just had a wonderful time, and I got some video coming up and all. There we go. So y'all, there's Gail and Donna and Greg, left to right, Lynn, way down there, Billy, okay, and then coming back, Darylyn. And anyway, that's our four couple friends. So anyway, let me get back to these other pictures here and show you, and Laura, don't forget Laura. And let's see, we were right, I showed you the bad stuff. Let's show you some good stuff now. How about Dale Finley, 6.5 pounds. That is a nice one. 6.5 pounds. Bass fishing has been good lately. I've seen some great pictures. And I've showed Elizabeth Wingrove before. What does she have on? She has a life jacket on. It makes me feel good when your former students ended up putting a life jacket on, even went out there in Weewaw and all the little creeks and all. Good job, Elizabeth. I show Elizabeth a lot on this show. She's an outdoor girl. Let's see, our next picture, Caleb Pitts. This is an amberjack, folks. It's weighing 82 pounds after the shark hit it. Okay, you see that? Can you imagine? That was a 115 pounder at least, and a shark just bit it right there in half. And Caleb's a big boy too. All right, and this is something, if you have a hunting cabin or something, you don't have the system set up, you think about this. That's pretty good, pretty innovative. Okay, let me see, I have one or two more, Jeff. Okay, let's get this one right here. This, my 16-year-old grandson, Landon Keith, loves to fish in his Birmingham neighborhoods. This is just one of the many pictures he sends me. I don't think he knows how to catch a small bass. I think I will get him some scales for Christmas. Joe Ridge from Lynn Haven. Scales would be an ideal gift for Christmas for a young boy that loves to fish. Here's what strikes me, four things on this picture. I looked at it last night. Of course, the first thing you see is that big fish. That's really good. Then you see the smile on the boy's face. I look to the left there's rod and reels in the background. And what's up there against the tree? A bicycle. That's what summertime is about, that right there. And then the bicycle's on the right too. So I can tell you right now, I don't know the young man, but I can tell you that he has really had a good summer doing those kind of things, and that's what a lot of us do. I wish all kids would just jump on those bicycles this summer and ride around and go fishing. And I've talked to a lot of parents about it. They're so tired of seeing the kids looking at these games and all, and they wish they would ride more bicycles. Okay, moving on. We've got a lot of stuff going on. One thing I want to mention, on our scalloping trip, we spent several days down there, and I do want to mention this, and we'll mention it later. We had a situation where we were out in the water, and we went like every day for several days. We just had a grand time, and one morning, one of the locations we're out there, and it was flat calm, and I sort of looked around. I seen scallop shells, which is when people clean the scallop shells, they just throw them out, which is what you're supposed to do. They return them back to nature. But I noticed a couple of them I picked up, they didn't have anything inside of them. Then Greg Brudnicki popped up not too far from me. He said, "Man, I've never seen this many dead scallops." And I started looking around, and there was dead scallops. And I've done it for all my life just about it. I've never seen that many dead scallops either, and neither has Greg. And what it was, the whole shell was together, so you reach down to pick it up, but it's just like a feather, nothing in it. And I'd open it up, there'd be a little bit of mud in it, just completely like a vacuum. And we got back to the house, and Bill Allen's son, Dalton, major in marine biology, and Donna called him and explained to him what we saw. Now, we got plenty of scallops, but that little one area there, we just had those dead scallops in it. And she called and said, "Son, what's going on?" And what he said, as marine biologist and all, he said, chances are, what scientifically answer to that is that there's so much fresh water that had gotten into that section of the bay and it killed the scallops. And that was a good explanation, because talking about all the rain we've had, it's just been phenomenal. So that was the reason, and we just we sort of moved on out of that area, and we got into another area that wasn't near as bad. But every now and then you pick up something like that. In all the years I've scalloped, I've never experienced that, to have that many just empty shells and all. But overall, the scalloping was really good. When I say that, I don't mean they were abundantly plentiful. If you stayed there a good while, you could go ahead and get your limit. If you didn't stay too long, you weren't going to get your limit. And you had to look for them. But it was just a great time, great weather, and just, we got out of there, just had a wonderful time. Now, what I want to do next is September. We already, what's the day? The 9th of September. Well, I think we got, after this weekend, there's only like 2 weekends left in September if you look on the calendar. And what I do September issue of Woods and Water, what they always do on the September issue, they do last year's top 10 bucks, but they do an interview with the person that took the buck, and I just love reading the stories, because there's really no, we think we got them all figured out, but out of these top 10, every story is different, and different situations, different weather, different times of the year. You think all of them are going to be taken in January in the middle of the rut, and most of them were not. And what I want to do, we're going to take a break, and I'm going to come back and share some of these different stories about the top 10 bucks from last year. So let's go, and then we've got some other stuff too. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. We're looking at 1:36 a.m. to 3:36. That was this morning. After lunch at 2:01 to 4:01. That's what we're talking about, the tide moving a little bit then. Also, one of the viewers called me yesterday, wanted to know if I'd heard anything about this, I can't call that name, but a large developing company out in the beach area. They're going to drain the water from the stormwater ponds into the Gulf of Mexico close to the city pier. I said, I haven't heard anything about that. So if any of y'all heard anything about that, let us know. But that can't be good to have all that fresh water in there, because you saw when I just gave an example of you had too much fresh water in St. Joe Bay, you saw what happened to the scallops. And when you get all kind of, I just can't imagine that. I hope it's just a rumor that people have talked about it. And so let me know if y'all know anything about that. We'll certainly discuss it and talk about it. And speaking of water temperature and all, here's a good situation here. Okay, Hurricane Ida cooled some of the Gulf. On the bottom, it's just a color chart. The top part up there, the top half of the screen is after, okay, average would be blue, and then below, is below average is red. And then, red is above average, so blue. So anyway, the bottom part was really warm. So anyway, you see what happened to when Hurricane Ida cooled it off. And then also, I've showed this chart each year, but we started looking at water temperature cooling in September. And they've been doing this in 1984, and it's pretty prevalent as what's going on. It's September, it starts cooling down. And those things are important to learn to know what's going on. We're talking about the fall run. Also, I talked about, if you remember, I got some good reports the last couple of days I haven't been able to share with you, but on last Friday's fishing report, in fact, I have it here somewhere, I circled, in fact, I don't know if you can see it right there. See one of my reports, see that word trout? I circled trout. Friday, I said, trout will be biting this weekend. Folks, I've got some pictures of some fine trout that folks caught Saturday, Sunday, and Monday over Labor Day weekend. Trout bite was hot this past weekend. And also, something interesting too, the water temperature, what happened, the water temperature did a little bit of movement. And I talked about, really on Friday, I said surf fishing will not be good until it clears up. And it could be a day or two, I'd have been through a day or two. Sometimes it's all according to the severity of the storm as to how much it's going to churn things up and get the water all muddy. And Ida was not a huge, strong storm. It did stir things up. So it cleared up a little faster than people had anticipated. And Saturday and Sunday, there was some really good surf fishing going on. Mexico Beach had a really strong bite of trout from the surf. And Mexico Beach didn't get messed up much as far as the clarity. And then also Brock Meyer sent me some pictures of some surf fishing he caught. So that's been really good. So anyway, I want to get into some of these stories. I'm definitely not going to have time to finish. I'm going to do a couple of days and a couple later on. But the cover, you make the cover, okay, there it is right there, Woods and Water. Here's the story on this first buck, the buck of the year, and the story on it, and it was in Leon County, over there in Tallahassee, and they showed the score sheet on all of them, how they scored by the FWC, and that's 100, on the bottom right-hand corner, 150 and 2/8 points. That'd be a quarter too, wouldn't it? 150 and a quarter. So anyway, it tells the story about it. Now this was taken in the rut on January 17th. And anyway, he was hunting there in Leon County, and a good story on how he did it and all. And then this is a number 2 buck in Marion County, that's Ocala, and a good story here. And these are just big bucks. But when did he take it? November the 14th on public land. And Blaze Emity of the 3rd. So anyway, he saw a big doe and all. A good story on there. There he is with his family. And that score, I forget, it was like 106 or something. But anyway, to take the number 2 buck in the state on public land is really good. The number 3 buck This one's a story. This was a good one here. This was on Christmas, the Saturday morning after Christmas in Jefferson County. That's in Monticello, and he told a story about. Let me tell you the story here, because this is an interesting story. This guy had been out hunting all morning, and it was, like I say, he said it was a dead time. He didn't see any squirrels, didn't see any birds. He hunted all morning, and just didn't have much, didn't see anything. And he got hungry and came to the truck and got him a bite to eat and thought about going home, but he said he had to go back to work. His shift work was starting the next Monday, and he wanted to go ahead and spend some time in the woods, so he'd just go sit in the stand that Saturday afternoon, because at least sitting in the stand is better than sitting at home. It was that kind of story. But he hadn't seen anything all morning. And then, as you know, as the story goes, you see later on this big buck walks out and he picked a stand. He'd been sitting there about an hour, and he came through a food plot. So that's his first one on Florida Register. The story itself and that is just really good. That's the number 3 buck. And then the number 4 buck is, here's another picture of it. It scored 147 5/8 and weighed 195 pounds. That is huge. It's a 12-point and a spread of 16 inches. So that's a really good story there. And then it goes on to top 10 bucks, and we'll talk about that. Then the number 4 buck was also taken in Marion County. And the story on that, so we're going down here. And this is number 5 buck, Highlands County. And I'm not going to tell the story on that, but when I saw Highlands County has never, that's South Florida, really Central and South Florida. They're not known for big bucks. And when he killed a number 5 buck in the state from Highlands County on a lease, and it wasn't any, no fenced in area, just a big old lease area that buck got away with. That's a good story in itself. I'll share this tomorrow. Well, actually tomorrow I'm going to try to have some guests coming on. I'll get Michael to come on with Harris and Braden Harris. Their big fishing tournament is next weekend. We're going to talk about some good fishing stuff going on, and we'll have them on, and then also we'll do some drawings and everything. So y'all be with us. We're going to have to wrap things up. I covered about half of what I had written down, which is always good. I can pick it up, but I want to share those pictures with you on the big bucks too, and all those other pictures from those big bass and all. Thank you for watching Panhandle Outdoors. We always appreciate the viewership. You do something good today for your fellow man, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.